with me every second, guys. How you all doing? Just setting up here, getting chat up so I can see it better. Alright everybody, how is everyone doing on this fine Wednesday? So I'm just getting things sort of set up. So I haven't done one of these on Boost Soapboxes IRL streams in a while. I've sort of took a break from the last one. I don't know, probably about maybe a couple of weeks, maybe even a month before I've done one. But yeah, just sort of, I've been spending the past few days with me, my tablet's being a bit of a bear with me, do I get shut up? There we go, we've got chat up now, guys. Sorry if I've missed anything. Lucy, thanks for the host, man. Sidewalk Runner. Hey, man, how's it going, dude? Yeah, so I haven't done one of these in a while. So, I've got a few sort of bullet points and things to try and keep myself on topic and sort of all the things that I want to really cover and talk about. First of all, I suppose I should catch us all up to speed and all. Like, anybody that's been following me will already know this, of course. But had affiliate at the start of last week. Hit the 100 follower goal at the end of the week. So I've just been on a high sort of from all of that. And then basically I crashed a wee bit Monday, Tuesday. You know, I'm sort of back into the swing of things now. Lurking while I make breakfast. No worries, Lucy, thanks for the lurk, dude. Yeah, so pretty much I guess I thought I would start things from sort of my journey, sort of from the started streaming until sort of last week, sort of just cover the what's the word? The important bits. Sidewalk, working and lurking. No worries, dude. That's no probs. You have to addle it sometimes, don't you? But yeah, so there's been, like, anybody that's been following me from the get-go would know sort of just, you know, that all the things that have been going on IRL and things like that. But yeah, just sort of I started in January this year streaming. I think the first game I streamed was Destiny 2. I'm not 100% not. It could have been Call of Duty. World War 2, that might have been the first game I streamed. But when I first started streaming, it was purely for, I guess, sort of selfish reasons, you know, self-betterment, that type of thing. It never once occurred to me. Healthy Kid coming in with the host. Thanks so much, dude. Hosted for 2 viewers, that's awesome. There's not too much up, dude. I'm just sort of catching everybody up on sort of the streaming journey that I've been on from January. So yeah, so I started in January, purely sort of selfish reasons. I didn't think, like, I wasn't thinking of the sort of big picture at that time. I was just thinking about, okay, what can I do to improve my confidence and you know, sort of make me a better streamer. It was never, you know, it was never like what I could do to help others or anything. Never really entered into it for me at the very start. It was all pretty much just what can I do to give myself more confidence and to sort of make things a little bit sort of easier on myself. So when it started, there was a lot of things sort of still up in the air with medically things and whatnot. Thanks, dude. I hope I will, dude, man. Thanks for dropping that host, dude, and coming in and chatting. Yeah, so basically when I started, you know, it was all because I wanted to get more confidence, try and get out and about more. And I was hoping by getting more confidence and stuff by doing streaming, then that would have a knock-on effect and whatnot. So a few sort of medical things all up in the air. I was still awaiting the official diagnosis for the autism, so that was all sort of playing out in the background. Um, and basically there was that, and then as everybody knows that's been following me, I had that lung collapse because I was silly and fell asleep while I was cooking. So yeah, so that kind of, you know, that kind of sort of put, uh, well, it didn't put the brakes on streaming or anything, but it just sort of was very hard to get motivated to stream and things like that. Um, sort of while all that was going on, and sort of during all that there time as well, I started to realise that streaming as a platform, um, there's actually so much good that can come of it, and you know, that maybe just sort of doing it for like the reasons why I started doing it just wasn't, you know, once I saw the good that could come from it, I was just like, oh, there's so much good that could come from this and so much sort of help. And then I kind of figured that with everything that I was going through, if I could maybe help someone else out, um, you know, that would, um, you know, if I could help someone out with my experiences or whatnot, then that would be a good thing. And even if one person, you know, so my whole mindset started thinking, started changing, sorry, during sort of that whole time, with the support from Lucy and Darren at the time, and then obviously most recently with Lucy and the SWS farm and the Subpocalypse crowd as well, were just all the sort of kind words and support sort of helping me towards affiliate, and then you know all the kind words afterwards just was, you know, brilliant. But yeah, I didn't really have, like, I didn't really see at the start what it could sort of become, or what good could be done from it. So yeah, so my focus sort of started to change a little bit whenever I realized that, hang on, you know, this could be used for so much sort of, instead of just using it for self betterment, I could be using it to help others and to uh, things along that lines and things like that. So that's kind of where my focus started to change. And you know, with the support of everybody that I've met from the start of the journey until now, you know, it helped me, you know, shift my focus and start to take it that wee bit more seriously, I guess. Um, you know, like uh, the, that yes, I still wanted to primarily have fun and you know play games and whatnot, but um, there was just, you know, there was just so much good that could come from it if you took the time to take it a wee bit more seriously than just thinking of it as sitting down in front of a camera and playing games. So my sort of focus started to change, sort of, I guess, in and among all the sort of the health issues and the waiting for like official diagnoses and things. Um, Alright, just catching up with each other, okay, sorry. Um, but yeah, so most recently after hitting affiliate and things, there's, you know, it's trying to sort of stay positive and to try and keep sort of working towards a goal, and you know, I'm guessing, you know, whenever it's like, I must. So basically, yeah. So there's been a lot of stuff going on. Let me just sort of rewind a wee bit. Um, so most recently, after hitting affiliate and just a wee bit before hitting affiliate and whatnot, um, things, you know, it's you know, I've been sort of just working and trying to sort of be okay, Red. I've had so much help and support from the whole streaming community with kind words, with Sleeping with Sidearms Discord, this Sleeping with Lucy, and everybody that's just been had like the times where I would maybe feel down and feel a wee bit discouraged, and all the kind words have picked me up again, brushed myself off, and kind of come at it, you know, with a renewed vigor, and things like that. Um, which I guess then it's basically uh, so whenever I've been trying to be supportive of other people, especially with on the both Discord communities that I'm a part of, to trying to uh, like sort of return some of the love that I was showing, I guess, and that's kind of what I've been doing, sort of most recently, and that kind of leads me. And then Healthy Kid that was in the chat there, he does a podcast with Fave Taxon, your Fave Taxon, I think. His handle is, and or Old Pat, and yeah, those guys. I'm into their podcast purely to be supportive because they're part of the Sleeping Beside Arms Discord, and I really wasn't expecting to like be inspired by it, and I wasn't expecting it to hit home with me so much as it inevitably ended up doing. And I really think everybody should check them out. And I'm not just saying that because they're part of the Sleeping Beside Arms Discord. Their podcast, it really has a profound effect on me. In the week running up to affiliate and afterwards, it's really just been like, whenever you've got a wee bit discouraged, and we're all human, whenever you feel like, my channel isn't growing as fast as I would like it or whatever and all. And there was just a few points that those guys made in those podcasts, like that made me think that maybe my thinking on it was a wee bit sort of petty, and while everybody gets slightly discouraged sometimes and stuff, if you're willing to put the work in, and just I think their whole demeanour and the way that they were coming across, it's very hard not to feel good coming away after listening to those two talk. And there was a few and they're all about sort of the mindset that do with streaming and the pitfalls and stuff that comes with it. And I just sort of like I guess it's part of the whole autism thing as well. When I'm really into something, I kind of wanna I was sitting listening, and there was a few points during the podcast, and I was like shouting out loud, "Yes, that's so true," and it made me sort of then look in on myself and maybe okay, those little things that I'm letting annoy me, I shouldn't be. I should be, trying to stay positive, trying to keep whatever goal I have in mind, and working towards that goal. And that's where they've helped me in the past few weeks, just catching up with their two episodes and things. And that is just it's just I'm guessing it's the same kind of inspiration that some people get from religion and things. It really has had such a profound effect on what I want to do moving forward, how I want to I like setting sort of time frames and things, and okay, I want to have this done by a certain length of time and stuff. And there was, I can't remember exactly the exact words iPod used, but it was these people that get discouraged after 3 weeks of streaming or a year of streaming or maybe even 2 years of streaming, you just have to keep pushing, keep a goal in mind. And that's kind of where they've been inspirational to me, whereas it's just keep working towards whatever it is, and regardless of how long it takes, just have an end goal in mind and do everything in your power to reach that. And that's where they have just it's just been I just every time I listen to it, I come away just with feel good feelings, and just it reinvigorates me to keep pushing and keep building, and just helping others out as much as I possibly can, because I wouldn't have been affiliated if it wasn't for the help from the streaming community and Lucy and the Sleeping Beside Arms Discord, and you know, and I know that, and that's one of those things, you know, like if it wasn't for all that support, I probably would have gotten a wee bit maybe petty and went, oh, I'm not doing it anymore, or whatever. But they've really helped in like various different ways, whether that be a word of encouragement if I'm feeling a wee bit down, or just with whatever they're doing, and just something really like resonating with me, you know. And those are the things that I want others to feel as well, and that's why I'm so like advocating it all the time, because you know it's been so helpful to me, and I feel like it would be so helpful to everybody, that I just feel like, you know, this is the mindset that you need to be coming at everything with, especially in streaming. You need to be keeping positive. You need to be uh, just, you know, try not to get discouraged and things. And like we're all human, and like all the little sort of IRL things that you have got running in the background while you're trying to do like everything else that comes with streaming, you know, it does grind you down. It does get you flustered, and sometimes you just feel like you want to scream. And you know, it's just one of those things, I guess. But you know, it's like I listened to a little bit of the podcast before coming on again, just to you know, just to sort of, because I know how like they make me feel after listening to them. It just makes me feel so good, you know, and positive, and that's another thing. It doesn't matter how sort of annoyed or negative I am when I'm sort of before I listen to it. It turns my whole thinking around, and I'm thinking, yes, don't let that get to you. Just keep the goal in mind, and all that. Um, so basically, the stuff that I've got going on sort of in real life at the moment, um, you know, it's just like with basically the obviously health appointments and whatnot. Um, and a wee bit of sort of money worries and whatnot. But they're just all things that, you know, that have the ability to grind you down, and I'm sort of trying, you know, to keep positive and not let them. But you know, it's sort of, I'm constantly learning that you know, I'm just constantly learning, because of the autism diagnosis being a recent thing, and I'm really learning what that's beginning to mean for me, and the way that I look at the world, and the way that I think about things and stuff. And you know, it's it's trying to sort of compartmentalize everything, and to try and sort of keep things separate. And I never really know sort of what to talk about in these things, or what to, or how much to go into real life sort of stuff. Um, but it's sort of like, you know, with like anybody that lives in the UK knows all about sort of the benefit systems and the changes that's being made now. And you know, on that note, I've I was called to get like one of these things changed over to a new one, or whatever. And you know, they essentially sort of turned me down, and I didn't have the diagnosis at the time for autism or anything. But even with all my other health concerns, with the cerebral palsy, with what they put down as depression, I guess, and that always really got to me, because I knew I wasn't depressed. While things were sort of, I felt like things were coming in on top of me. I wasn't, you know, like, I didn't feel like that was the right label. So, you know, that kind of was like a 4 or 5 year journey trying to get that sort of diagnosis nailed down. What exactly was it, you know? Um, but it once I got that diagnosis and whatnot, basically then I got that sort of doing all this sort of reshuffling of uh, the benefits and whatnot, and like primarily I want to be out working, and it's all about getting that uh, support network in place that allows me to do that, and you know, without having when I did have jobs and stuff, uh, the problems that I come up again in those jobs, like with how to behave and how to uh, sort of and how I reacted to things, um, like which all now could be covered with the diagnosis of autism and stuff. But at the time, whenever all of it was going on, you didn't know why why it was happening or what was happening, and you know, you had people like, you know, you know, family members and people like in your circle and stuff saying, "Oh, you're just being awkward," or "You're just being stubborn," or you know, and like I just didn't have the words to explain that no, that's not what it was. That you know, and that I couldn't articulate how I was feeling, and you know, then that would annoy me, and you know, I just knew that just from my experience of life and whatnot, that like from such a young age I can always remember um, having this feeling of like I guess the outside world or society. I always felt like I had to be dragged out of my own world to like participate in that, which I found really uh, for some reason I was really self-conscious of it, and even from a young age I might not have been able to articulate it um, at that time, but now with my, with being older and having a more and having more of a vocabulary to use and to hopefully explain things better, like there was that, you know, thinking there, like, and like I can remember, you know, if I said something and somebody made fun of it or whatever, you know, it used to really sort of um, not take over my thinking, but I would be like stuck in this loop of trying to work out why. Um, Richie, what's happening, man? What's going on, dude? Welcome to the Ambu Soapbox, dude, my IRL and talkie stream. I'm just filling everybody in and just sort of giving everybody a bit of background and sort of what I've got going on and whatnot. Um, but yeah, it was like I can always remember, like, if I said something and somebody sort of laughed at it or whatever, and I could never really get what was funny. It was always like I always felt like I've said something wrong or I've did something wrong. Do you know what I mean? It was never like, oh, they just found maybe what I said a hilarious comment. It was I said it wrong, or you know, it was something that was always my thinking around it. So then I would always I would people watch. You know, I'd take a step back and I'd watch others and be like, oh, okay, that's the way people go on, and you know, and that's how I got through life and things from a young age up until sort of, I guess, attitude and whatnot. But there was always this sort of underlying issue, you know, and like it used to cause me weeks and weeks of like trying to figure everything out, you know, like for example, my mum would like make an off the cuff comment, say I would be struggling with not eating properly or even self care things like shaving and you know cleanliness and all, like I would be struggling with, you know, where I would need a little bit of a reminder to go and do something, and like that would have always led to sort of, come on, you're nearly 30 and you should be able to do these things, and I used to come away from that and just like be like, I'm 30. Why do I struggle with these things that everybody else seems to take too easy? That I just seem to struggle with on whatnot. And then in the teenage years, while all that sort of stuff was going on, that's whenever I started smoking weed and all, and I just and all the sort of my mind that would be going a million miles an hour 24/7. Once I started smoking that, it was like, whoa, that shuts it all off, that calms everything down, and I just seen it as this miracle cure all thing. And the light is making, yeah, it's more to do with the crack on my screen, dude. I can't sort of seem to figure, like, get that away. It's the blinds is closed and stuff, but I think it's just because of the crack on the screen and the way the light's reflecting off that. So I think that's what it is. But yeah, so I just basically, once I found like weed, I was just like, wow, this here is amazing. This quiets my brain down. This allows me to work through things at a slower pace and not kind of let it become like a runaway train with my thoughts and stuff. So I kind of latched onto that with both hands, and it was only up until recently with the lung collapse that I've really stopped doing that, and cut down, and I haven't really smoked in a while, so like, and I think that was partly to do with getting the diagnosis as well, because it was like, when I was high, things weren't as scary, things weren't as, I had this sort of, it gave me this confidence that I didn't have without it, and that's kind of why and so that's from I was 13 right up until a few months ago, 24/7, 7 days a week, I was smoking, and obviously then that's detrimental, because anything, no matter what you're using for, whether it be a good reason or a bad reason, if you're doing something 24/7 and you feel like you can't operate without that something, then you kind of have to take a look and be all like, maybe there's a bit of a problem here or whatever. But again, it's just one of them things, and it's like, I'm just sort of like, while I was sort of reeling myself off it and things, it was like, it's not, and I wouldn't say that I'm like completely weaned off it yet, but it's one of those things where now that I've got the autism diagnosis and I've got my why and things like of that nature, um, hey Polyman, welcome to the stream, dude. Uh, and like, I try to sort of like, obviously doing anything to the extent and to the excess that I was doing it, whether that be like something positive or negative, it does become a problem. I mean, even something good that's good for you, like for example exercise. If you do that too much, or if that becomes all that you do, then obviously it's going to have a detrimental effect on like everything else in your life, and that's kind of where I was before I started streaming. Where you know, like I wouldn't. I'm not one of these people that say weed is uh, like physically addictive, because it's not. It's not like your body doesn't crave it like it does, say for example, like nicotine or something, but your mind does. It's psychologically addictive, and again, whenever you've been sort of doing something 7 days a week, pretty much from you get up in the morning till you go to bed, that is sort of not good, I guess. And I've got like you know, obviously with all the years of like smoking and whatnot, and I have like stomach problems and things, and all that there, you know, which I probably wouldn't have if I hadn't have went down that sort of, you know, sort of lifestyle. But again, like when I was younger, you know, and with all the sort of health problems I had, growing up, you know, so being born at 24 weeks, like, and all the sort of health problems that come with that, it was like I wasn't so much wrapped in cotton wool, but there was a feeling that I was wrapped in cotton wool, you know, like where, like, okay, I wanted to, my friends, they would have played football and whatever, and I was like, okay, well, I want to go play football, and like would have been, well, you can't really play football because you've your asthma and you know, and your cerebral palsy and things like that there, but you know, that in itself gave me the drive, you know, like, nah, I want to, I just want to be like everybody else, and I want to do the things that everybody else is doing, and that's kind of the mindset that I used to have, that I lost somewhat, kind of late teenage years and into my early 20s and whatnot, and then sort of between sort of 17 and 21, I kind of stopped smoking weed, but then I started drinking every day. So I didn't really like. I was, you know, saying to everybody, "Oh, I've stopped smoking weed. Isn't that great?" and all. But I didn't really. It wasn't really that great because I just substituted one bad thing for another bad thing. So it wasn't that I was living a primarily healthy lifestyle at that time either. You know, so that's kind of like where. Sort of those years, and I don't really remember them that well. As I said, I was drinking every day, um, and like it wasn't until like actually one of my friends, now it's Paddy that you see popping in the chat now, countless times before he would have told me, you know what, when you're drinking, I don't even want to be near you because of the way that you're going on, the things that you say, and all that there. And he was forever telling me that there, but it just didn't. Uh, it just was like water off a duck's back. You know, it just was like, yeah, whatever. And I guess it was kind of like you could take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But then, I don't know what it was. Just one day, he just sort of went, you know what, you're just a dick. And, you know, I can't be me, even if you're like that there. And that was the first time that it really, really hit home that, hang on, maybe I've got a problem here, you know. And I worked on things, and then I sort of stopped drinking, but again, then I started smoking more again. So there was that kind of like exchanging one thing for another. But that's the kind of, you know, I don't know why it struck a chord for that particular day. It just did. It was like, but he was forever telling me that anyway. But that one day, it just was like, it made me look in the mirror, you know, and whatnot. And then I sort of made an effort to get off the drink and to not use it as a crutch. Now I still drink a few beer the odd time, nothing too major, mostly around Christmas time or whatever. But you know, as for like going out every weekend and doing it, no, I don't really do that or anything. Um, so for the most part, like I've kind of sort of knocked that bad habit on the head. But it's like one of those things that is just like, you know, I think it just like there's a point in everybody's life where you're just, you know, you're ready to hear something, or it just it strikes more of a chord than um at some particular time. I don't know, I don't get it, but for some reason it was just one of those things. Uh, you're like drunk say, yeah, that's, you know, that's just it. And like I know, man. It's the light coming. I don't even know where it's coming from. The blinds closed or whatever. But um, you know, that's kind of like the sort of pitfalls and whatnot that I was sort of that I would have been dealing with growing up, as well as like uh, my stepfather and like his battle with cancer and whatnot, and all the emotions that brings up and whatnot. And you know, like I used to be very like hard on myself and used to be all like, woe is me, you know, and like, you know, isn't my life so bad? And that was my excuse for doing all those, like, for drinking. And you know, I wouldn't be doing this if so and so hadn't have annoyed me, or it was always somebody else's fault. I never like once took the that it was something bad that I was doing. Uh, it's all cause of me. You're a good lad, but not all drink. I don't go his house if he's on the drink. Yeah, um, it's all because of Paddy. Look at Paddy, he's just awesome, isn't he? um, but yeah, it's it's just like life, I guess, and you've got everybody's got their own battles and their own stories, and you know, like when I was getting off the drink, like I went to an AA meeting and I was sitting listening to a few people talk about things and whatnot, and I was just like, what am I even giving off about? Because I have nothing in my life that even comes close to whatever this person's going through. And but in like, well, no worries, dude. Drink more. You're a great drug. um, and it just made me like go, what am I? What am I drinking for? Like, and my excuse for drinking was like negligible against whatever person was talking the story, and I was just like, wow, like, and that was after Paddy had given me the kick off the backside that I needed to maybe take a good hard look at myself and whatnot, and and that's the kind of thing, like, I would never tell no one not to be drinking. I'm not one of these people that, okay, that used to, like, for example, let's say reformed smokers, where they used to smoke and then they've quit smoking, and then anybody that lights up a cigarette near them, they're all like, that's disgusting, I've never been like that, because that would make me a hypocrite, if I was to give off about something that I did, like, so would, uh, I would never tell someone not to do a certain thing. I would give them advice on if they were going to do something. I would just be on like, okay, if you're going to do it, there's nothing that I'm going to say is going to stop you from doing it. But try not to, fall into the same pitfalls that I fell into. And those, I got to be a bit off topic, but the the I used to, like, when I was drinking and when I was smoking, and we, on whatever excuse I could bloody find to do those things, I was using it, and it wasn't until one day where I was having a wee bit of a meltdown, and I was like, it's so crap, that from a young age, that we didn't, like, I was talking to my wee bro, and I was like, it's so crap, bro, that from a young age, that, like, what we've been through as a family, and I was getting really worked up and really upset about things, and and again, it was him, and he goes, okay, calm down, and he pretty much goes, right, we've got a time machine, we can go back and we can change one of those bad things that you perceive to be so bad, that that's why your life's in such a shambles right now. You can change, go back in time and change one of those things, right? And I goes, okay, fair enough, right, let's do it, because I was going along with the story, and it's like, okay, but going back and changing one of those things, when we get back to now, it changes you. Like, you're not you anymore. You're not the same person. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, no, because I like who I am. I don't want to go back and change something if it changes who I am as a person. And he goes, exactly. You're concentrating on all the negative things that's happened. You know what I mean? In that, you've concentrated on all those negative things, and you're letting them like, get you down, but you're forgetting about all the good things that's happened along that sort of journey. Like, because not only has bad things happened to you, there's been good things as well, and they're the kind of things, you know, that you need to be concentrating on. And that was another kick up the backside that I needed to stop, like, stop going woe is me all the time, you know. Um, that's the you know, so that's kind of like the same sort of, like, I'll be forever grateful for him to him for that, because it just, like, anytime I do feel that way, I just always remember that story. You know, okay, with a time machine, if I go back and it changes who I am, you know, and I don't want to change who I am because I like who I am as a person, you know. So anytime I do feel like that, that's what I always try to, like, remind myself of and things, and like, so I'll be forever grateful for to the wee bro for that and stuff, and yeah, it's just trying to keep positive and not letting not letting things grind you down, and you know, and while that can happen, it's just one of them things, and you know, that's why, like, I'm just sort of, you know, that's why I'm so grateful actually to that Happy Kid and your favorite Taxon for even doing those podcasts, because you know, when I first listened to them, I was going in purely to be supportive, and it wasn't like I wasn't going in expecting expecting to come away with anything, and I just found them so inspirational, guys, that it was just like everybody needs to hear these, and like, and especially people that stream, like every streamer needs to listen to them and whatnot, because they cover some good stuff. They cover, like, you know, they're real, they're honest with their opinions, and you can really tell that just by listening. But yeah, so sort of that's sort of my past and whatnot. So to bring things up into sort of today and the past couple of weeks, I have a few appointments on the horizon. Finally going to get the dentist sorted out, and get all the teeth work done that I've been neglecting because of the teeth work, you know, because of well, I was born with next to no enamel, and then obviously bad dental hygiene and the lifestyle that I used to lead has led to all the sort of bothers that I have now with things going on there. So although I'm not excited about the prospect of actually having to go to the dentist and to do all that, I kind of want to get all these sort of health problems knocked on the head once and for all. Uh, it's because I'm scared of them, dude. Wow, I just noticed, man. Thanks for the bits, dude. Thanks for the bits, man. That's greatly appreciated, dude. Um, but yeah, it's like, that's what I've got sort of coming up. Then with the benefit system changing and whatnot. Um, so basically, I guess I better explain a wee bit about the process there so you understand it. But basically, whenever you're claiming any benefit or whatever, if you get turned down for that benefit, there's like an appeal process. Then it's called a mandatory reconsideration, and if you feel that as well, then you can take it to a independent tribunal. So that's kind of sort of whenever I was getting one of mine changed over, that was kind of what was happening. They went for the PIP assessment, and you know, that was stressful enough and everything that sort of just leaving the house sort of does to me. Um, so I went to that. I was turned down. Whatever the decision maker decided that for any of my health conditions, they didn't affect me, and that I wasn't entitled to any of the benefits or whatever. So that's whenever then we did the whole mandatory reconsideration. We sent in, I'd got my autism diagnosis during that period, so we sent in the more up to date medical records and things. And then all of a sudden, a few weeks ago, I get this letter, like, just sounding like it was not the monetary reconsideration stage, but it was the changeover stage. And I was like, what's going on here? I've already been through this process. That's not where we are. We're supposed to be waiting on a monetary reconsideration, and this is like almost like that first one didn't happen. Um, Anytime, dude. And like, man, no worries, man. And like, I was like, what is this? What are they playing at? And then obviously, with my mum making a few phone calls and whatnot, apparently they weren't happy with whatever crowd carries out the the medical assessment. They weren't happy with the report that they'd give the uh, department, the Social Security Agency. They weren't happy with the report they received based on the new medical evidence that I provided. And then I had kind of got a wee bit sort of, uh, not on my high horse, but I'd got a wee bit sort of like, what, so they lied that first time then? And that's kind of where I was getting stuck in my thinking, oh, so they lied in the first one and now they're trying to backtrack. And I was just like, why do I have to go through the whole process again? And with it being sort of a really stressful thing to actually go through, I was like, well, I'm not gonna, I don't want to do it, and I'm not going to do it, but that's happening the day after uh, the dentist. But it was kind of like sort of that's what I've got sort of moving forward. Um, Next week, at the end of next week, this is all sort of scheduled for the 30th and the 31st, and it's just one of them things. It's like it's had a knock-on effect of obviously with a bit of money troubles and whatnot, and you know, um, while I don't really want to go over it too much, it's it had the ability to grind me down and to have a knock-on effect where um, I kind of was getting again to the mindset of streaming was becoming like a chore with everything else that I had going on. And that's whenever I'd found the podcast, and that's you know whenever I was feeling a wee bit sort of dishevelled and sort of been like, okay, I'm ready to just I just don't even want to look at a PlayStation or anything, and I listened to them, and I was like, you know what, and just the kind words that from the Sleeping Beside Arms fam and this Apocalypse Discord, just all the kind words there. It helped sort of lift me up, and then it caught up on the podcast, and I was just like, you know what, yeah, just it's all about keeping positive, and just sort of when you're going through, I think when you're going through something and you're not expecting anything, and I was trying to stay positive, and I was trying not to let all the little sort of in real life things get to me, and obviously I'm only human, and there will be these wee slight sort of irksome moments or annoyances, and I don't know if it was uh, Fave Texan's just demeanour and just how happy he seems, which has a knock-on effect of uh, making you smile, just by his whole demeanour. And, I don't know if it was that or if it was like partly that and what he was saying about, it's all about putting the work in that most people don't seem to be willing to do. And that really sort of resonated with me too. There was a line that the Healthy Kid said as well about, oh, people that tell you you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, whenever I was growing up and having a stubborn sort of mindset and wanting to do and wanting to be perceived like everybody else, because I guess from when I was really young, most of my I don't even like using the word disabilities, but most of my health concerns that I had were noticeable. You know, when I was really young, I used to have to wear splints and these big, like, I used to call I called them donkey boots because they were like just like having bricks on your feet, and you know, like so like most of my sort of health things was noticeable. You could look at me and you could see, wow, he's obviously got something up there or whatever, and you know that's why whenever I got like into my sort of early teenage years where I didn't have to wear splints anymore, I could uh, finally wear normal shoes. Like that's whenever all my things I could hide them. You know, I didn't have to be worried about someone looking at me, and you know, I kind of felt like I was like everybody else. You know, so for a long time then that sort of was anytime sort of anything sort of medical come up, I kind of rebelled against it, where I was like, no, I'm just like everybody else. There's nothing wrong with me, and I'm just going to keep going the way I'm going. Again, um, obviously that stubbornness can only get you so far in life, and there comes a time when you, not so much your health issues catch up with you, but you can't ignore them anymore, and that's kind of the stage where I'd sort of gotten to over the past uh, sort of couple of years, where um, I'd realised that okay, I can't be stubborn about this anymore. There's something there's something here, and I need to go figure out or try and find out what it is. And that's kind of so basically. Then I had like I was on like a benefit, and part of that benefit was to go to, we call it a course, but it's pretty much like learning how to write a CV and trying to help you find a job and whatnot, because you're of working age, and when you're of working age you should be out working. So that's kind of, I went to one of those programs through the Dole or the Brew or the Social Security Agency, and you know it was um, through one of them that I'd got like this one-on-one support, and after a few meetings or whatever, it was this dude had kind of like brought up the whole autism thing. He's like, "Have you ever been tested for?" He said, "Oh, my stream probably froze there, guys. I do apologise. My battery is at 20%, so we'll just go for as long as we can here." Um, so I apologise for it freezing there. But it was him that said that, and I was like, I didn't know what it was, you know. So that was like 4 years ago, and it took up until a few months ago to even be called for the appointment, and that's basically because it's a postcode lottery. You know, I kind of live in a small village, and there isn't that much of in the way of like resources that there would be, say, in one of the bigger towns or whatever. So pretty much the reason it took 4 years to even be called for the assessment was that the person that did the assessments or the team that did the assessments were only allocated 1 day a week and a few hours during that week to carry out the assessment. So that's why everything took so long, and why I kind of felt like I was in limbo, and I'd got to my, not so much got to my wits end, but that is around the time where at the start of in January where I started to stream, and I wanted to, with all that going on and with it all being up in the air, it was what am I getting for dinner then? All up in the air and things, you know, it was. You know, while I didn't know what was going to be the outcome, I kind of felt like, all right, it is. I do struggle with like communication and social sort of anxiety and things like that there. So that's why I started streaming, just to try and get over those hurdles, in the hopes that I would then uh, sort of feel more comfortable going out into society, and sort of it wouldn't be as scary. And that's kind of why I started streaming. Um, and that's why I say it was purely for selfish reasons, because it was purely for for self betterment and to better myself. Um, and those kind of things, you know, or where I am now to where I was, even back at the start of the year, things has come on so much for me, with everything, and it's just like, looking back, and that's another thing too, sometimes you just have to take a step back and look at how far you come, because sometimes you just don't see it, you know, you just don't see that, you know, from where you were until where you are, it's it takes away. It's just nice to stop and smell the flowers, and that's kind of like, where I am. I had affiliate at the start of the week, and then I was starting. Okay, I'm going to start taking things a wee bit more easier and whatnot, but just sort of then with being on such a high of hitting it, and then in and amongst that, being so like inspired by that healthy kid on your favorite Texans podcast, the Twitch Mindset podcasts, it's give me this sort of get up and go. Like, I don't know, to keep pushing, to keep working, to keep building on things, and now I've got the goal of partner, which is which is the next sort of milestone in the Twitch achievements. While I see that as obviously far off, I never dreamt that I would even be affiliated. You know what I mean? And the fact that I now am, it's like, yes, and that, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a goal. To like hit that milestone, and like, and but even in the week running up to being so close to hitting it and all, I still saw it as something like a few months off, or that I had to work towards it and whatnot, and like, so that whenever it happened, I was just like, wasn't expecting it, and and it's just like, I'm so appreciative and so grateful of all the people that have been supportive and that have helped me, and sometimes they might not even know how much of a help that they've been, but I'm just so grateful for that, that now I'm kind of like, I want to help others reach whatever goal, whatever aspiration, whatever dream they may have, because like again, this is another thing from the podcast, but nothing's out of reach, provided you're willing to put the work in, and it doesn't matter if it takes a week, a month, a year, 10 years. If you keep putting a little bit of effort in every day, and working towards that goal, you will hit it. The sky is the limit, and that's kind of where I am right now, and that's kind of where I wanted to touch base with everybody in one of these soapboxes streams again, where primarily they're off the cuff. Yes, I've got a few bullet points written down in front of me to try and keep things sort of coherent and whatnot, but for the most part they're primarily off the cuff, and it's just one of those things that I'm just sort of sitting now, and I'm sort of looking back over the past year, and it's just been like, I'm just so grateful for everything, and with everything, like, things could have been so much different this year, like with the lung claps and whatnot. I could have let that stop me from streaming. I could have let that sort of been like, oh, woe is me. And again, anytime I do feel like that, it's one of those. I just always go back to that time machine story, and be all like, you know, yes, and it just reminds me that even though you may concentrate on the negative aspect of things and all the bad that's happened, there's so much good in and amongst that, and sometimes you just don't see it, and uh, that's when you have to take a step back and reevaluate your thinking and whatnot, and that's kind of how things sort of are for me at the moment, where there is a few things that's got the prospect or the ability to sort of for me to throw a woe is me party, but at the same time I'm trying to keep positive, trying to work towards this goal that might be that's probably really far off, but I've got it in. Like, I've got a goal in mind, and I'm gonna do everything that I can in my power to get to that goal, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to help others to reach whatever goal or aspiration they may have. And that's kind of where I am sort of in my thinking when it comes to sort of streaming now. I'm trying to take it that wee bit more seriously, where I've always taken it seriously, but I'm kind of it's kind of like, right, um I need to be a little bit more serious in sort of how I sort of split up my time. And again, it's like, sitting down in front of the camera and talking, it's hard, but it's primarily the easy bit of it. It's all the work that goes in preparing for it, and all of that, and all the things that goes on behind the scenes that if I'm being honest, I wasn't prepared for whenever I started streaming, because I thought it was just playing games and sitting down in front of the camera. And it is so much more than that, And I think sometimes people don't realise that there's so much work that goes in behind the scenes, and like to really be serious about it, you're almost putting in 8, 12 hour days every day to do it, and that's counting maybe streaming for like 3 to 4 hours or whatever, but like it's just amazing, and I'm so amazed by all those streamers that have a family, that hold down a 9 to 5 job, and then can come home and stream for 3, 4 hours of a night, which I've none of those responsibilities. I've no, well, I mean, I don't have any children or anything, and I'm not uh, sort of working at the moment as much as I would love to be, but like I find it difficult to do streaming with having none of those uh, sort of worries and concerns that anybody that has all of those going on in their life, whether it be school or work or whatever, and then they can still fit in 3, 4 hour streams. I'm just amazed by that. And it's just like I feel they're the ones that are really sort of putting the effort in, and they're my sort of, you know, those people are who I look towards to sort of, anytime I've sort of been getting grounded down by streaming and whatnot, I'm like, well, I have none of those worries, and I'm letting streaming and all the wee pitfalls that come with it get me down. Well, how would it be if I had all of that there to worry about, as well as worrying about everything that comes with streaming? And that's kind of where I kind of am with everything, guys. Where I'm just been sort of thinking about everything from over the past, well, everything over my entire life lately. I've just been looking back and just trying to keep positive and remain positive, and you know well, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I have come a hell of a long way in the last year, in the last couple of years, and it's just like, sometimes, you kind of forget to see it, and that's kind of where I kind of am with the IRL things. So I'm trying to, trying to be positive and trying to remain positive. Sort of with streaming, again, is having the knock-on effect where that I'm carrying that mindset into my everyday life, and that's where I am with things at the moment, guys. But my battery is really low. I'm not 100% sure how long we've been going, guys. Let me just do the wee uptime thing to find out for definite how long we've been going. And wow, an hour and 5 minutes. Yeah, so I've just been sort of the goal moving forward is doing everything in my power to and then obviously I've got a load of stuff going on behind the scenes with trying to get the info section of my channel sorted out and trying to get emotes starting to be designed and whatnot, and that's kind of what I'm sort of working towards. And I've brought somebody on board to hopefully help help me accomplish all these things. So that's kind of where I am at the moment, everyone. And yeah, just I want to thank everybody that's taken the time to stop by today, and hopefully I'm not, maybe once a month I'll do a stream like this, catch everybody up on what's going on and stuff like that moving forward. But yeah, I just wanted to do one of these because I hadn't done one in a while, and I just wanted to just to sort of be real for a second, and that's kind of sort of where these sort of things go. It really depends on, like, I try not to make them too ranty and too sort of anything along those lines, but I'm just trying to sort of be. Oh, I'm froze again. I probably froze again there, guys. Look, my battery's about to go. So I think I'll call it there for today, guys, for this soapbox stream. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that I hope it's the content that you like, and why don't you let me know? Just feel free to DM me and let me know your thoughts. And it's like, yeah, I'm just ready for the next chapter, everybody, and I'm just so humbled and so appreciative of all the kind words, of all the support, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of that. I wouldn't be affiliated. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't just things would have been so different, and that's just it. And I hope you enjoyed this today, guys, and I'll probably do this once a month, but we'll see what way everything works out. And I will catch you a little later on, guys, when I'm going to go live with another slice of The Last of Us. I'm not sure of what time I'm going to be kicking that off at yet, but as always, keep an eye on my Twitter, and there you should be kept up to date with what times I plan to go live and whatnot. So I will catch you later on, guys. Peace.